Louisiana Secretary of State is visiting election officials across the state, and today she stopped in Ouachita Parish. Kenya Ross talked with her about the upcoming election. Kenya?
Yes, Jennifer, the Office of the Secretary of State is taking a tour around the state to answer any questions that local officials might have ahead of the presidential election. So while she's in town, I sat down with her to find out what voters need to know about the November election. Landry says the office typically sees presidential elections having the highest turnout. They anticipate between a 68 to 71% turnout for this presidential election. During her visit, she'll visit with Registrar of Voters Isabel Butler in Ouachita Parish. The Registrar of Voters is having an upcoming voter awareness meeting to get citizens ready. Landry says this is an opportunity for voters to get engaged and involved.
And so I would just come with questions and be ready to register to vote. If you haven't registered yet, you'll be able to pick up probably a registration form, or they'll show you how to register online. It's never been easier to register or to vote than it is now in Louisiana.
And the voter awareness meeting in Ouachita Parish is scheduled for September 17th. I'll have more information on KNOE.com, plus my full interview with Nancy Landry. Jennifer?